Elijah, you okay? We're gonna do the pledge.
Sure. All right, if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 4th, 2022 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First, let me introduce the members of the ZBA that are present here this evening. Myself, the chairman, Carl Hinger, vice chairman, Alan Donnelly, secretary, Janet LaForgia, and our new member, Nikki Kaiser. I'm saying that correct? Yes. All right.
Welcome.
Yes, I want to formally welcome you to ZBA. Thank you for taking your time and energy to serve the town of Brookfield. Also present, we have our alternates, Elijah Holling and Larry Rushmeyer. Not present this evening, we have member Lisa Temple and alternate member Richard Briggs. Also present is our zoning enforcement officer, Fran Lawley. The current agenda can be found on the front table. I will call each applicant one at a time. When I call the property address, please come forward and tell us about your appeal. After we have gone through all the cases on the agenda tonight, we will close the public portion of this meeting and deliberate in open executive session. You must have at least 4 affirmative votes to have your appeal granted. You're welcome to stay until the end of the meeting or contact the land use office in the morning. Note that in regards to any appeal that is granted, it is constrained to the plans submitted and to any purposes stated in the application, unless the board specifically notes otherwise. The public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process and is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application, and allows expression of opinion by interested parties. The final decisions may be in the form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or disapproved. Welcome, Richard. After reading into the record the correspondence received by the board relative to this application, we will ask the applicant to present the application in detail. The chair will then entertain questions of clarification from the board members concerning the applicant's presentation. We will then hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Following each side of the question, the applicant will be allowed to make concluding remarks. All questions and comments must be directed through the chair. As you are recognized, please state your name and address each time before you speak so that your comments may be legally recorded. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the board is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application, and in view of the time constraints placed upon us, we ask your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. Our first order of business is to review the minutes of the previous meeting. The meetings are available on the town website, and I believe everyone should have them in their packets. As Lisa Temple is not present, and Nahida, as you were not available last meeting, I would ask that we have 2 alternates take place to vote on the approval of the previous minutes. So I guess we'll go down the line and start with Richard Briggs and Larry Rushmeyer, if you're both comfortable in voting for the minutes.
Sure. Yes.
All right. I will take a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll move to approve.
All right, Alan moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Larry seconds.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make one amendment to it.
All right.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to amend the February 7, 2022 minutes to include my remarks quoting the Connecticut General Statute. I won't go over them in detail, but if the recording secretary looks it up and she adds those in, that would be fine with me, Mr. Chairman.
And that's in regards to which, that's the first
Yeah, that was in regards,
to the Grace Bridge
yes,
case?
yeah, 23 Grace Bridge Roads.
All right,
So can I'd like to make a motion to amend the February 7, 2022 minutes to include my remarks quoting the Connecticut General Statutes on the 23 Grace Bridge Road.
all right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Janet seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The meetings will be amended, and do we need a motion to submit the minutes as amended, or is that? That covers that. Okay. On to the next business. We have review correspondence. These are just the minutes of the other boards, the Inland Wetland, Planning and Zoning Commissions. There's no action we need to take with those. So moving on to public hearings. Our first application is Z-22-13. That's 41 Barnview Terrace. If the applicant can please step forward and tell us a little bit about your case. We have it in front of us, but just explain kind of in plain terms what it is you're looking for.
You can come up closer if you want, it's up to you.
Just need your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, James Kelly, 2 Alexander Drive, Brookfield, Connecticut, representing the Ranellas at 41 Barnview Terrace, Amy Jamesons.
All right, welcome to the ZBA.
Thank you, thank you. So, we've already been through wetlands, and basically, because of the setbacks from zoning and the wetlands, setbacks, really the only place to put the pool is where we put it here. You know, it's, we're asking for a, 10-foot variance. We feel it's a non-conforming lot. The house is at, 16 feet, 1 inch off of the side setback. We're putting the pool at 20 feet, so it's behind the house line. And it's essentially, that's the only place that we could place the pool, and, still not go into the easement while we work. I understand, yes, you could shift the pool a few feet to the left, but, building it, you have to have machines going around it, and we would be going into that, easement. So that's really the only place that it could go.
All right, are there any questions?
You're explaining that the machine, the equipment necessary to dig the pool can't get on the north side of the pool?
So what I'm saying is, between the pool and the conservation easement, there's a stone wall.
Yep.
We need room, to move the machine, to backfill and actually build the pool. So we need about 6 feet, to get around there with like a loader. So, we can't shift it any further and actually still physically stay out of the easement and not hit the stone wall while we work.
But the variance you're asking for is from the sideline boundary, correct?
Correct.
So if you move the pool to the north to get it further away from that sideline boundary, how does that change the conservation easement?
Well, as you can see, if you were to push the pool to, I'm not going north and south, if you were to push the pool to the left.
If your back is at the house, you're talking about moving the
Yes.
pool to the left.
Yeah, so you can't really do that, because then that stone wall, you get less and less room as you push it that way. And it's
Mr.
just-
Keller, isn't there septic fields over that way as well?
The septic is marked on the survey, but it also, yes, the septic setback also narrows in that area as well.
So that's,
And also, it'll trigger them to go back to wetlands again, too. That's the problem.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Mr. Kelly. Would it be okay if you showed us exactly where you want to put the pool and exactly what we were just talking about on Google Earth? I got the map right here in front of me. And then just point, if you could, you can hold it, point out where the conservation area is that you, thank you.
So the
So if I'm looking at that right there,
It's right in here.
okay, so that's where the pool's gonna go?
Yeah, if you see the picture, it's sprayed in blue.
Okay, so right back in
Onto the
that.
hill a little bit, but probably be.
How far over is the septic fields?
Septic fields are, let's see, we have to be 25 feet off.
So where do you think they end over there, if you had to guess?
26 feet off the house,
So, yeah, I got
right
you.
in here.
Yeah, plus you gotta be the 26 feet off of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
did,
25, yeah.
alright, I did walk the property,
Oh,
so I
thank you.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's literally, we feel the only place you can put it.
Yeah, your next door neighbor to the right's got a pool, right?
And a tennis court.
Yeah, and a tennis court.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there, so this is gonna be back over there. You wanna look at this, Larry? Haven't pointed out? Or you got-
the property, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yes,
Thank
I forgot to ask before we got started with this one, since Lisa isn't here. Elijah, since you haven't voted yet, would you like to be a voting member on this?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Great, any further questions? Wait, are there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Hearing none, are there any concluding remarks you'd like to make before we close the evidentiary portion?
No, I think there's something about
Alright, I'll take a motion to close the evidentiary portion.
Mr. Chairman, was there any correspondence?
I did not
Don't
receive
believe
that
so.
No.
correspondence.
No.
if you haven't-
Nothing last minute, Fran? on
No.
that?
Yeah,
Not
we
that
got
I've
an
seen.
There's
email.
none included in our
Email.
packets.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll move to close the evidentiary portion, Mr. Chairman.
Alright, second, all in favor? Aye. Alright, and we will be moving on to application Z-22-16, 701 Federal Road. Richard, if you would like to be a voting member in this application? Sure. Going around here. Right, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us about your application.
My name is Anthony Lucero, I'm the applicant. To my left is Michelle from Untitled Engineering, who is the project engineer. The project consists of 12,000 square feet of retail space in the town center district zone. And the project is going to adjoin a project that's been recently approved just to the north of it, which is 731 Federal Road. We don't need that.
Okay.
Which is 731 Federal Road, which is, everybody's heard about the Emporium grocery store that's coming to town. That's the project. And I'm also an owner of that project.
That's 731, Mr. Lucero?
Yeah. So the grades off of Federal Road, well, first of all, the entrance into 731 is directly across from Laurel Hill Road. Department of Transportation has approved that and is proposing a traffic signal at that location. The grades are such, and there's wetlands in the front of 701, which start at the north end, go all the way down to the south end. And so we approached the commission to adjoin the two parcels and just have this as an extension of 731. It's a separate application, but the entrance and exit is gonna be through 731. When we applied to wetlands, we actually had the building within the setbacks, which is 6 feet to 25 feet off of the front property line. And at their request, we applied to you to move the building back because we were too close to the wetlands. And they did not really want us to be there. They didn't want us, we said to them, we follow the regulations. If you want us to come to ZBA, we'll come to ZBA. In fact, I think in your package you have a letter from the Wetlands Enforcement Officer, which was prompted by the Wetland Commission to send to this commission that letter. I've not read it, but it's apparently in support of the project.
Yes, I'll read it into the record now. Dear members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, an application for a wetlands permit with regards to the above matter is pending before the Inland Wetlands Commission. The Connecticut General Statutes, section 22A through 41, 1 through 3, require the commission to consider 1, the environmental impact of the proposed regulated activity on wetlands and watercourses, 2, feasible and prudent alternatives, and 3, short-term and long-term impacts of the proposal. Brookfield's inland wetlands regulations echo the statutes of section 220-11B, 1 through 3. The plan presented to the commission on February 14th, 2022 conformed to the Brookfield zoning regulations with regards to setbacks, but proposed the filling of a wetland area at the westerly side of the property. The commission discussed such filling, which would cause the permanent loss of beneficial hydric soils. The commission also noted the placement of a building and retaining walls adjacent to and directly in wetlands can negatively impact the ability of those wetlands to function as habitat and groundwater recharge of the aquifer. In response to these concerns, at the following meeting on February 28th, the applicants presented a revised plan moving the building out of the wetlands. This necessarily places the building approximately 41 feet from the property line, parallel to Federal Road. Although the application has not yet been approved, the Inland Wetlands Commissioners, who are aware of the zoning setback requirements, expressed much greater favor towards the new location of the building. As the duly authorized agent for the Inland Wetlands Commission, it is my opinion that the proposed location of the building by Ardell Engineering Group LLC per site plan for 701 TPA Partners LLC, 701 Federal Road, Brookfield, Connecticut, dated February 2nd, 2022, at a scale of 1 inch to 30 inches, sheet 3, will better maintain the existing environment quality of the parcel than were the building be required to meet the current zoning front yard setback of no more than 25 feet. Sincerely, Rochelle. All right, so with that read into the record, are there any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is John Waters. I live at 36 Dean Road,
Mhm.
which is at the extreme end of Dean Road that backs up to these parcels that they're developing. And I'm already getting all kinds of, getting bear in my yard, and, I mean, the deer I always had, but I'm getting all kinds of animals that have been pushed out from all this development that's going on. And I hate to say, but I'm not in favor of, zoning to push it back. If anything, scale down the development to fit the parcel that you have. I mean, you're gonna build this place and you're gonna move on. I lived there. You know, and so I'm getting noise, the lights from Federal Road. All of a sudden I said, what happened? So I contacted, First Select, car. And she said, oh, you were notified by, a registered mail of all these projects. Nobody I spoke to in the area was ever, said they were never notified by any registered mail. And I'd like them to produce a return receipt with my signature on it, because I never got anything. And like I said, I got bright lights coming from across Federal Road, from where the cleaners is and everything, into my yard. I mean, it's like I'm living in Yankee Stadium now. And I don't appreciate it. And like I said, these people are here, they're doing a development, they're gonna make money, they're gonna move on to their next project. I'm there, living there, and I don't appreciate these trucks banging and now I see blasting mats, I know they're gonna be blasting. Who knows what that's gonna do to my foundation and everything, you know? And I just don't, it's very upsetting to me to see what they did there with the greenway going through. To me, those parcels should have never been okay to build on. I mean, it should have been part of the greenway or something. I mean, I was shocked when I saw a building going on. I said, what? You know, like I said, I come home one day and there's a mother bear and a cub coming up my driveway at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, what the hell is this, you know? So, you know, I hate to disagree with your project, but I say scale it down so it fits the parcel. I mean, already the one you're building next door, it says, what, 4 buildings with 40 apartments in each? I mean, what kind of noise is that gonna generate? I'm not too happy about the whole thing, but I see that nobody else seems to really give a flying hoot because nobody's here. I'm here and I hope you listen to me.
Yes, sir, thank you. You said you're in a butter to the property and you don't think you got a letter?
I
What's
know
your
I didn't
address
get a
again?
letter, and anybody I spoke to, unfortunately, I can't give you names because people on Pocono Road said, yeah, we went through that, we never got any letters. They said we got them, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I'd like to see one produced with my name on a card that you.
What was your address again, sir? I'm sorry.
It's 36 Dean Road. It's at the complete end of Dean Road at the cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
And, I never.
Yeah, I see Dean right here. Could you just point it out for me if you don't mind? There's Dean. You can look at it too, Mr. Lucero, if you'd like to.
No, I don't need to, I have the receipt from the certified letter.
Thank you, sir.
With my name on it? I'd like to see that.
There's certificate of mailings the town requires.
Where's the,
Oh, there's Dean Road right there, Dean Road.
Okay,
Across the Still River on the opposite side.
I'm down, okay, I'm down.
Oh, right here?
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused with this.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, I was looking at
Dean
your
goes
house
like
from above.
this, right?
Yeah. And then there's, so they got Dean and then Dean over here. And-
I'm not the part by Silver Mine, I'm the complete other end.
Okay, here, let me show there you go. So here's.
There's like a little cul-de-sac down at the end.
Okay.
I can't see it there.
You wanna show them?
Yeah, that's okay. But you're right behind it. You're on the other side of the river.
Right, I'm right
Okay.
behind it, and I'm getting all kinds of noise, and you say you have my signature card? I'd like to see
I have the post office certified receipt of the mailing. I don't have the signature cards because those are turned into
Well,
the commissioners.
the commission only requires certificate of mailings, so you
Right.
don't have to do a signature. So these are the receipts to show that they were mailed by the.
And went out to 3016 Road, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't give you this, but you're more than happy.
There's
Yes,
a
sir.
copy, I uploaded it on the
It
portal.
should be in the file, probably, or in the portal.
Yeah, yes, we do have a copy of the.
The receipts, I
Yeah.
send them in.
I'm sorry. We'll get right back.
I mean, I
Thank you.
pick up my mail every day. I never. I would have to sign for it, correct?
You do not have
Not
to.
necessarily.
No.
Now, why is that?
Thank you.
What is what?
When you get a registered mail, why?
I mean, if I don't gotta sign for it, I'm,
Like,
They're
how-
just certificate of mailings, the regulations just require certificate of mailings.
Certified and
certified.
registered are two different categories.
Right.
So certified, I think, doesn't require a signature, registered does.
Unless you check the little
Oh.
box and say
Right.
which one is
Okay.
signature.
so, I mean, not to accuse anybody of anything, but who knows where, I mean, like I said, I checked with people up and down Pocono and on my block. No, everybody denies getting one, so. Did we get them or we didn't get them? I mean, like I said to count, First Select Car, I said, they gotta put high shrubbery in at least, to block out some of, the sound barrier, and you want 15 feet. That's 15 feet or more sound barrier that's gonna be cut down, I mean, cause they just leveled everything, and like I said, the wildlife's got nowhere to go, so you know where they're going, they come to my house to eat now, so. I'm just a little disturbed, I think that they're overpopulating the Four Corners area, it's turning out nice, but I think it's getting a bit ridiculous, and, I've been in that house for going on 13 or 14 years, and it was always nice and secluded, and that's not the case anymore. I mean, anybody's welcome to come over and get a sunburn tonight if you want from the lights from the cleaners. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you get, like I said, you get all the traffic noise now. These lunatics on these little motorcycles blasting up and down. I mean, you never heard any of that. Now not only do you hear it, you see it. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, anybody's welcome to come by there and point it out to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
And you're located on the other side of the Still River?
Yes, he is.
I'm on the other side. I'm at the cul-de-sac of Dean Road.
I think it's right there.
know what I meant. Of this property, there? Okay.
My driveway actually is a right-of-way
I have the name.
through,
May I ask, do you know what your neighbors think? Did you
I know
go
what the
and
ones
tell
on
them?
Dean Road, on Pocono Road think, but they said that, see, I was under the assumption all the time that I thought this meeting was for the property that they levels already. She said, no, this is coming down further behind your house.
Don't they have in their packets?
You know,
That's
it's another development that they haven't even took in the trees down yet.
Yeah, if it's a cul-de-sac.
So,
I'm
they said they
guessing
try to
Over here.
complain on the other one, and it went nowhere. Whether they did, I can't vouch for that,
Yeah.
but I
But
mean,
it was a different board then, it was a different,
Yeah.
it's,
it's just a shame of,
It's right across the river.
it's just,
It's right across the river. 'Cause it's- 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 it's-
My wife's very upset, you know, she's,
I have
I
a-
don't blame her, I mean, like I said, you go over there now, if you leave this meeting, you just drive down my block and walk in the backyard, you see all the cars going through it, so what happens when these trucks are starting to pull in, you know, I don't know what kind of business is gonna be on the first floors and stuff, but they're gonna be getting deliveries and everything, and the garbage trucks, and, you know, you're gonna get all that noise, and it's quite disturbing to me.
Mr. Waters, I understand that they have some substantial planting and stuff going on, I think in the background. Would you like to speak on that?
No,
No, sir?
no.
Okay.
There you go.
The
Why
plans,
not, may I
plans that
ask?
were approved for 7/31 of the record, and he's welcome to go to town hall and review the planting plans and everything that's of record. There's no point at this commission, to use this commission's time to be discussing the planting of 7/31 when we're here for an
Oh,
application.
no, I meant 701.
We haven't done the planting plan yet because we're still in wetlands.
Okay. Yeah, I watched the wetlands meeting, and I did see your the display on there.
I just, the wetlands brings it closer to me, so closer to me means more noise to me, so that's why I'm opposed to it. Build something that fits the parcel you got, and don't go crazy and jam in the Empire State Building on a quarter-acre lot. You know, that's all I'm saying. I don't wanna hurt anybody's feelings, but that's the way I feel.
Right, thank you.
Doesn't look happy with me, but I'm sorry.
Is there anyone else
Thank you,
who'd
sir.
like to,
Thank you, Mr. Waters.
is there anyone else, yes? yes.
Mr. Chairman, there's been a minor revision in that the building actually did get smaller from the initial plan that was submitted. These are full-scale plans, and these are reduced them by 17. What occurred is the building was 15,000 feet, and it was brought to our attention by the wetlands officer,
Let's be within 12, I think.
that we need to stay at 12,000 feet. And so we shrunk the building down to the 12,000 feet. That's the only change in the plan. With regards to the gentleman's comment about fitting the building onto the parcel, the building fits onto the parcel per the zoning regulations. It will fit whether it's here, where it's proposed to, or if it impacts the wetland area. In either case, it fits the parcel. There is a significant buffer to the rear of this parcel, which, if you look at this plan, this dotted line in here, that's, show that, oh, you have to.
This is all wetlands, that won't be,
Won't be disturbed. What is this line here? Isn't that the 100-foot?
that's the,
The flood?
floodplain.
Okay.
But this is all, this is the Still River, and this is wetlands associated with the Still River, so this is, none of this will be impacted.
But that dotted line, what does that indicate?
That is the 100-year floodplain.
I see, right. And then between that and the building is parking, I assume?
Yes.
So we have parking within the building.
Right.
And the edge of the Still River, Mr. Lucero, is it about, and I'm going up to roughly where the greenway is, that about 445 feet, give or take, sir?
I'll have Michelle address that.
I have another question for you. While she's
You went to
looking.
the Greenway, you asked?
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the river to the greenway.
I walked there, there was a slog, I think it's about 445.
Yeah, it's about 420. About 400, a little over 400 feet, so 420.
And how far up did that one flood go?
So this is the 100-year flood line, is right here.
So it goes to the east side of our parking,
Okay.
doesn't go anywhere near the building.
And where the building is raised 2 feet above the flood elevation.
Mr. Lucero, I watched the inland wetland meetings, all of them, and then read the minutes on them a few times. The February 14th meeting was the original one that you had that was, I guess, close to the 100 square feet of the front wetlands there. The
Right, the
westerly
the
side of the
northern
wetlands.
portion of the wetlands, we would disturb in very small amount.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been destroying it or bulldozing it in, just encroaching on it, I guess?
We would actually be disturbing it, yeah.
So you'd have to disturb it.
Yeah.
Right.
I
With
think
this
that-
revised plan, we don't have to disturb any wetlands on the property.
Okay, all right. There's about, it's 19,404 square feet of wetlands total on there, something like that.
I'll leave that to
I think it's
Michelle.
19,404. And that amount of wetlands in the front is roughly 0.5%.
It's a small amount of the wetlands.
19,402, 19,402.
Yeah, it's a small amount of the wetlands that are on the property, yes.
I don't have that right there. Okay, sorry.
In your opinion, if you were back, say, 10 feet or 9 feet, would you still have to disturb that wetlands?
Where we have the building now, we would not have to disturb the wetlands. If we moved the building any further towards towards Federal Road, we would get into disturbing the wetlands. What we did is we moved the building as little as we had to not to disturb the wetlands. Yeah, that's it.
Are there any further questions for the applicant? Wait, is there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, is there any other remarks in opposition to this application?
I'm not totally opposed to your project, I just hope when it finally goes through that you take into consideration the neighborhood and do the proper planting of some sound barriers. That's all, I just wish, you would block off some of the, like I said, 15 feet, 10 feet, is it gonna kill me? No, but the noise and the lights irk me a little, so like I said, I don't wanna oppose this project, all right, fine. But I just wish, he doesn't seem to wanna talk about planting, but whatever, I just hope he does the right thing.
Right.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Are there any closing remarks you'd like to make?
No, sir.
All right, I will take a motion to close the evidentiary portion of this application.
I'll move to close it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, then we will now go into open executive session for the discussing of our first application, Z-22-13, 41 Barton View Terrace. I will take a motion to approve the application as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion?
I walked the property, Mr. Chairman, and I think it's about the only place they can put it, in my opinion. That back corner, they have the wetlands over there, and it's a pretty steep incline going down. So I have no problem with it, Mr. Chairman.
I don't think that the incline changes the further you move it to the north. And the stone wall does move in, encroach on the property as you go further north with the pool, but I don't see a building construction equipment issue. So I think you could move this pool at least 5 feet further to the north and still be in that back corner and work around the pool.
I guess the question is whether that impacts on the septic, how close it
You're,
comes to
you're
that.
still far enough from the septic
Yeah.
fields.
It's 25 feet you have to be aware of.
Correct.
So you're thinking about it as stipulation, and just cut it down a little?
Yeah,
Well,
5 feet.
They're gonna have to go back to wetlands then, just so you know, so.
for the pool?
Yep.
If it's not,
Cause they had to go to wetlands first,
even though it's not encroaching on the conservation?
because there's wetlands in the conservation table, it's distance from there.
Or we can give them the option for what's wrong with them, it's up to you. So we have to go back there.
Do people feel okay to vote on this, or do we want to?
You feel like you need that stipulation, or are you okay to vote there?
He's not a.
I'm not voting.
Oh, sorry.
member of it, it's, Elijah's.
Oh, sorry, Elijah, sorry.
It's okay. Does everyone
I feel
feel?
okay to vote on it as is.
It's Elijah's.
All right, then, everyone in favor of approving the application?
Aye, Alan Dye.
Aye.
Right, opposed? None? The motion carries, the application is approved, 5-0.
Yep.
Which, it's the first meeting in person.
I know.
That's all good. Allison's signed your ear, so. We'll do it afterwards.
All right. So, moving on to application Z-22-16, 701 Federal Road. Richard, you're a voting member on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take a motion to approve as submitted. Richard seconds.
Also move.
You want a second?
Need seconds? Any discussion on 702 Federal Road? 701, sorry.
I have a little discussion.
Mhm.
Okay, in watching the inland wetlands, I do know for a fact that, Mr. Lucera and you're the engineer or the architect,
Engineer.
agreed to keep all those trees in the wetlands there exactly the way they are.
Yes, we did.
I did hear that on there. I don't know if we wanna put a stipulation and make it 10 feet, or how does everybody feel? That's what I was thinking.
If they get any closer, they said, and I think the Wetlands Committee somewhat confirmed that they would need to fill in an area of the wetlands. It would disturb the
Even
federal
at 10
road
feet, you
sign.
still have to,
Yes. You moved it just exactly what we needed not to disturb it.
The original application to the wetlands was within our limits, but filled in the wetlands, so they
Right.
have now satisfied the wetlands, but disturbed the zoning commission.
that's what I'm concerned about.
And you said you watched the,
Inland wetlands,
Committee.
both of them.
Did the original plan and?
Original plan
maybe
was-
to this-
It
to-
was
did
closer, right?
It was
within the
closer to the
25.
side, did it go any further towards the river? Does this new plane go further towards the river?
Yes.
I should say, okay, by
Yes.
the 15 feet,
Yes, 15.7, right?
Actually,
or did
it
it?
does not, because we actually narrowed up the
Shrunk
parking.
down?
We moved the building back and narrowed the parking, so it kind of all stayed in the same, other than in the front, it stayed within our footprint.
So the building itself is, a little further back, but the parking is
We-
shrunk.
We
We-
shrunk the
shrunk
parking
the
away from the
parking.
river.
Right,
Right.
right.
We
Yeah.
lost
So
an
it's
aisle.
11
Expanded.
spaces or something like that,
Right, we
11
lost the
spaces.
whole aisle, so
Okay.
we made the
Mhm.
lower, area, so we had, this was a double, so we had parking down here.
Mhm.
So to move the building back, we eliminated the lower row of parking.
The first
So
building,
this didn't actually get any closer to the river.
Okay,
the first building, you left yourself like a foot or so from a 25-foot marker. You were 24 or something like that.
I believe so.
You were, but on that, you had to encroach on it. And I'm
We
sure
were
you
in
had some
we
questions
were
there.
actually in the wetlands in the front.
You were in the wetlands on the front.
Can I ask a question?
uh,
Not during this.
no, we're, in
I shouldn't even
executive.
be asking
Yeah,
questions.
we,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
unfortunately, we're in executive discussion.
No, I'm not familiar with the whole setup, so.
Yeah. We are Maryland, so.
The first part you spoke is the evidentiary part, so everybody can say whatever,
Okay.
and then we kind of talk amongst ourselves.
So do we have enough parking now that you took out?
Yeah, we do.
You do.
So,
Which is on this one?
yeah, Richard on this one, does anyone have anything else to say? Does anyone
No,
feel?
I'm a little, I'm questioning the fact of the neighbors not knowing by certified mail.
Well, we do have the
Yes, I realize
receipt
that, but
if it's,
if it's not registered, I mean, people will just think it's junk mail and they would throw it away, or they wouldn't read it.
The problem is,
If it's
that's the rule that
registered-
the town
Right,
has, just
yeah,
has to do it
that's
that way,
what
right?
comes, go to regulations, that would go to
The
town
zoning,
regulations,
zoning
that would be
regulation
our.
dictates to us how we have to notify people that are within a 500-foot radius
Right.
of our property line. We do a survey of the assessor maps, get the names and addresses of those people that are within the 500 feet. We submit the receipts the night we open the hearing with the commissions. We submit the receipts certifying from the post office that they have mailed these letters out.
Right,
But you're correct that if people don't get them and they think it's junk mail, then they're not gonna look at it.
Right.
yeah.
But in that regard, it's a regulation of the zoning commission. If
Right.
we
That-
wanted that to change, that is, the zoning commission would have to change that to require signatures. That wouldn't be on us. That's something we'd have to
Okay.
take up with them.
Okay.
Because
Mr.
currently,
Chairman, I think what is the procedure? I think that is something that, because,
Janet, can I address that?
sure,
I've been doing this for almost 50 years. The reason the commissions don't do that is because people who are in opposition to a project will not accept the letter. So they'll say, we never got it, we never signed for it, just like Mr. Waters is. The regulations require us to, how we are to notify the public. There's a notice in the paper
right.
of the hearing, just like there was for
And
this
what
hearing.
paper is that, like the county paper or the?
No, just the town, the local
Just the
town.
town,
In-
okay.
In this case, the News Times. So there's a notice in the paper, I'm sorry, 2 notices in the paper, and specific dates before the hearing. That can't be before, can't be too far in advance of it, and then not too close.
Within like 10 to 15 days.
So that there's notice to everyone.
Helping us
Yeah.
until
How would
after
anybody know
because
what it is if the proposed man hands me something to sign? I don't know what's pertaining to
He's
you.
not asking, he will not hand you something to sign, that's my point, is that the towns
Just a letter.
don't require, no town in the state of Connecticut requires a signature. I'm not on the,
Well,
not when I was there.
Yes, sir.
So,
I'm very sympathetic to your concerns because where I live on Stony Hill Road, I hear the sweet sounds of the diesel trucks going up Vale Road, and the gravel business has constant flow of trucks and so forth, but it's simply the nature of a commercial zone in business, so I think that as far as I'm concerned, this seems like a reasonable modification to do something to protect the wetlands, so
Where does all the runoff go?
I would be in favor of it.
I say, where does all the runoff go from the parking lots into the Still River?
Well,
Mr.
this is an
Chairman,
executive discussion.
it
and
is,
we're
this
not,
is, this is an executive session.
right, yes, this is for our deliberation. Right, does everyone feel comfortable voting on this application?
I'm comfortable. It's Richard's on this, right?
Yeah.
All in favor of approving the 701 Federal Road application, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
for the gentleman's application, our wetland hearings will continue, and he's more than able to speak with any questions he has concerning runoff or any of those questions at that public hearing.
Yeah, I was trying to bring up before to help them out, I saw the wetlands, that you guys had a really nice
Yes, they-
setup in the back, and you added,
Yep.
2,300, I think, square feet of extra wetlands
Yeah.
and
Right.
plantings and stuff, but that they'll go over at
Right,
wetlands,
that's,
so.
yeah, they still have to go to the Wetlands Commission for approval, and that's where things like runoff will be addressed.
And we just don't want to
All
make
right.
it clear.
Will I be notified like on wetlands?
Unless it is.
You basically, if you go on the town website and look up the wetland commission, it will tell you when the next hearing is.
All right,
Thank you, everybody.
yes, thank you. That brings us to the end of the public hearings. Now go into the
You'll see,
old business, the discussion
Michelle,
of the ZBA
just let her
bylaws. Lisa's not here, so I don't know if we actually want to vote on it tonight without everyone present to discuss and approve it.
have a good night.
Good night, David.
Thank you.
Good night, good night, thank you.
We do have some copies here of the changes to the ZBA bylaws. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look them over. If you like that. I'm sure they gave you the original ZBA bylaws when you got sworn, but there are adjustments that we're looking to tweak because I don't know exactly how old these bylaws are, but some things even like vice chairman were never present in the bylaws. That's something that's just kind of come about whenever that position was brought in and never actually written in.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I typed a whole new draft, and unfortunately, because I don't have the equipment, the scanning that's meant for the electronic equipment to send it to you, the draft, right, I mean, it's already been draft 8, 9,
Right.
and it's not completed. I mean, I actually have my own that I want to change, that's not included in the latest draft that you're showing there.
Okay.
So, I don't know if this needs to be discussed now. Unless anyone else needs changes, I will make them for it.
I was hoping we could go through a few of them just to see if they were okay or not, and I promised Lisa I would chicken scratch, like if anybody had a change or a question on something, and get her a copy, but I wanna see all yours too.
Well, I have just no
Okay.
inspection,
You
that's
s-
all I have it, and I've changed everything.
Okay.
You can't email those to Nina to adjust or add in, or just
I
the group
did,
is also
I
we have a
did.
chance to?
I did ask her to put it in, but I don't know what
We
draft
can,
you're looking at.
we'll skip that one and go over it the next time if you want. We're not voting on anything
Yeah, we're
tonight,
not,
Shannon.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not voting on anything.
what I was most interested in with these changes, and I wanted to ask people that have been on.
You have a copy?
We're short on topics, so we might have to share. I got one here.
I just wanted to ask people that have been on the board a while that might know how it's been done, but the inspection portion originally has read, whenever the board deems it necessary to inspect premises involved in an appeal, special exception or variance, the chairman shall designate no less than 2 members to make such an inspection. And then, however, it is strongly advised that all members of the board inspect the premises whenever possible. My original interpretation among joining the ZBA was that with the phrases, whenever the board deems it necessary, and the chairman shall designate, that the at least original written intent was that after a meeting is convened, like in this case, we would decide if a walkthrough is necessary.
You mean on the next cases?
Correct.
Right,
Correct.
that was
So
my
if there's some
understanding of it.
misunderstanding or some
Right.
more clarification on specifically pertaining to the property, that the
That's
board
right.
as a board can go actually walk the
Right.
property together
Right.
or separately.
Right, but
Am I right,
is that,
Fran?
Well, yeah, you are, which would be a special meeting though, so you have to be careful. So that
but it
there's-
would, yeah, but it would require a special meeting,
Yes.
and so what I just wanna make sure is that, has that how it's always been handled? I emailed Lisa, I know she's not here, but she said some people would sometimes walk properties before a meeting and with,
But as far as like, for example, the one with the pool.
right,
That I went to the property and I walked the property.
right,
One of the most important thing is you address yourself to the homeowner. That you're here as a town official and you're here to look at the property in regards to their variance.
right,
Do not have a conversation, you're not talking about the case, you're not, any of that, you're just there to walk the property.
right.
Okay, Richard, I put that in
Larry.
with my, Larry.
Larry.
I put that in my, just changing that
Well-
you can visit the property, but you're not allowed to speak to anyone.
Well,
However,
well,
go
on
into the
the-
property, and I wanna just, I'm sorry, do I have to address you, Mr. Chairman?
Well,
I'm
we just
sorry,
did sort of an
I'm a
informal-
little bit in fright. Alan is going to Fran and going with Fran to visit to look at the properties.
Yeah, if he's
I
available, I
wasn't
know he's
under
busy.
the impression that we needed Fran.
No, no.
Okay, is that true or not true?
That's, you do not need me. I know
Okay,
with previous, Larry and Neil and other commissioners would always go visit a property.
right.
So we can just contact the applicant.
So
If
I
it's
put
two, is
that
that
in.
okay as far as you know, Fran?
I,
don't even know.
my opinion is you go by yourself, don't go as two,
Mm.
because
Discussion.
discussion starts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
I got
And that
you.
was something that I seen in Janet's email, which I'd highlighted.
Right, I'm
Okay.
glad,
And
okay,
yeah.
so you did see the
I
change,
have it.
okay, great,
Well, this-
To
great.
encourage conversation with the homeowner in regards to who you are, you're a chair, you know, you're a commissioner, so on and so forth, and polite and courteous, but you cannot discuss the case.
Right.
I got you.
Right,
Well,
Now,
just saying, obviously, introducing yourself is appropriate
Right.
if you go to the property, but this amendment or this change seems to make it consistent with what has been happening in fact. Right?
Okay.
Because people do routinely, not everybody, but visit the property before
Yeah.
and it's helpful. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's-
I have not done that,
right.
but hearing other people's accounts, it's helpful, so.
Right. It's just, that's what I wanted to make
It's more
sure
information.
before
Yeah,
going
yeah.
along, because it seemed like the intent of that section was being changed, so I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure it was consistent with what we wanted. Okay, that's the only question I had about the,
did you see
changes.
my changes, Mr. Chairman? That,
when
that's,
did
if,
how
that-
long ago did you,
what you have is Alan didn't put my changes in
well,
the
this-
Yeah,
inspection.
that one I emailed out.
Right.
I thought it was the
So-
last time we could email anything out before the meeting, because
Okay, so
because
this-
of the packets.
right,
Yeah.
so this is draft 8, and you
She
emailed
really
something.
has,
It's-
she really
it's-
has 9.
Okay.
I really did, I have to be honest, I typed the whole thing,
Yeah, you did a lot.
and I did a lot. I
Yeah.
changed a lot, I looked at punctuation, I looked at spelling, everything, and no one has it.
Well,
So I don't know if I did all that for nothing, but,
No, you don't.
No,
You don't.
yeah, but you don't have it, you know, you don't have the
well,
changes
it's
that
'cause
I
it
made.
didn't go out.
No,
with the
we'll
packet.
go over it next meeting. Nobody's
You
voting
know,
on anything now.
it's,
Well, just make copies and we can get them sent out.
well,
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
have, I don't know if I have do I have everybody's email?
No, you send it to Nina and I,
Yeah.
and we'll
Blast
disperse
it
with
out.
everybody.
Okay,
Right,
all
so-
right.
Okay, yes, we don't need to vote on that now. We should, like, get to a final draft, though. We can make changes forever and ever and be here in draft 36 in a year and a half from now.
Right,
We
okay.
do need to eventually solidify what we want it to say and not make broad changes, but maybe one-word changes if there's something really specific. But hopefully we can vote on it soon.
Can I run page 5 by the other members, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, but
Just, well, I'll go over, it's just Green and Lisa a little bit. Okay. So, under the quorum or voting, this is the state statute, and Fran, let me know how it sounds to you. A quorum shall consist of 4 members of the board for a transaction of all business, and decisions shall be made with a concurrent vote of 4 members. Reversals of decisions of the Brookfield Zoning Commission or the zoning enforcement officer, and decisions on applications for special exemptions and variances in favor of the applicant require a concurring vote of at least 4 members. Does that sound right to everybody?
I think
Yes,
that
it
sounds
sounds right.
consistent.
They got that
Yeah,
pretty much
it
out of the
does.
statute.
Right,
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
consistent.
And this is something that everybody has said a lot of different times at the few meetings we've had. Is applicants, and this was an add-on, is applicants are entitled to 5 members. If for some reason there's only 4 members present at the time of the applicant's hearing, the applicant must be made aware of that fact, and with their permission and/or consent, the hearing may proceed or be tabled until the next meeting. If approval or consent is given by the applicant must have a unanimous decision, 4 affirmative votes for approval.
Correct, we have a
That
form
sounds-
that they
That's
sign.
fine.
so-
Okay,
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's, sounds consistent.
Okay, and then, the administering votes, I just put in the requirement of, the oath, which is Connecticut General Statute, section 8-5. And then the generic is oath for witnesses, which is connected, right out of the statute, Connecticut General Statute, section 125. Here's the oath. You so solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning the case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury.
That's
Does that sound right?
me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't,
Well, I
It's
mean,
not
I
really
don't,
something that comes up much though, I'm not sure if any applicant's ever been asked to take, we can keep it
Never.
in, but I don't think it's ever
Well.
been
Never.
Yeah, it hasn't come up,
useful, yeah.
but you never know.
you never know,
Sure.
right? Beat it that one time, right?
Right. Next page over, I just added the word formal/informal discussion, which is kinda like what we're doing now, right? That's not a big one. And then conflict of interest, because I had this at my very first meeting.
That wasn't, is that not already in the
No,
bylaws anywhere?
No,
no, it wasn't in there at all.
no,
Where is that?
This one,
Top of
page 7.
and the
Um,
recusal too.
I got a little input from Lisa, and I know it's nothing we're voting on, but here's what I wrote, and tell me how it sounds. Conflict of interest. Any member that has a clear conflict of interest with any applicant and or proponent of the, speaking on behalf of the applicant, should recuse his or herself as a voting member on such application. Recusal, procedure. When recusal is deemed necessary on any application, the member shall write a recusal letter and forward one executed copy to the chairman or chairwoman, and one copy to the secretary, who will attach it to the minutes of the meeting to be put in the official town records. No, and this is what happened when I recused myself, and Lisa pointed it out. Even though I had recused myself, I didn't lose my right to ask a question, so no.
I don't think the note is necessary, non-voting alternates can still ask questions, I think that's implied, not that.
It's implied, but if it's not in writing, it ain't there.
Well, it's not, I don't believe in writing that alternates can ask questions, but it's still just,
It's up to you, it's all right.
I'm
Well,
just saying, I
I'll
think
read
it's
the note.
superfluous.
I'm gonna put a question there. No, the not voting members shall retain the right to question and or make comments on the applications.
I'm just saying, I believe,
Wouldn't
non-voting members are always.
Wouldn't a verbal work since the minutes of the meeting are being taken?
A verbal recusal?
Correct.
Yeah, well, you
At
need
the
to make
time.
it verbal, because if a case comes up, you don't have the opportunity to make a written recusal. If a case comes up that you discover you shouldn't
Right, you
vote
won't,
on,
yeah, you
Well,
won't
so-
be receiving it until the week before, and then is the time. to-
Right, mine I spotted literally the second, I got the packet, and I called the chairman immediately on it. What should I do? And he said, well, you know, him and all back and forth, he says, here's what I would do. Sometimes it's the appearance, even if you don't have one. Put a letter in writing, and I actually brought it to the town clerk and gave him a copy. I don't think we need to do that. But that's what,
It's probably good to ultimately have a record of the recusal, but you could certainly verbally recuse yourself in the moment, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Wouldn't
in the
need it.
minutes, so let's
Yeah,
not
so let's-
require
Yeah.
that that's another hoop that a commissioner has to
Right,
jump
you
through.
shouldn't- yeah, you
You
shouldn't
made your
need to-
statement, you've recused yourself or whatever, that's good
Right.
enough.
Right, you should
Now, if
need
you
to
feel
attach it
uncomfortable
written to the.
yourself personally and you wanna,
Mhm.
for some reason, write it, then I don't see any
Yeah.
problem with that either.
Yeah,
And
a
it's in the
a
minutes.
verbal recusal at the meeting should suffice, because it's on the minutes then.
okay.
That's what we've done in the past too.
Should
Right.
there be something in the conflict of interest, I mean, this is maybe going too far, but to specify if someone has any conflict with someone opposing the plan? So this refers to conflict with the proponent, but not any opponent. I don't know if that, for completion's sake, would be.
Well, the proponent is or the applicant is the only person that really stands to benefit, or you mean the person opposite?
Yeah, somebody, right, somebody.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's worth,
So,
maybe it's
so you're saying if
so
the,
unlikely an outcome.
You know somebody's coming to a meeting, right, to oppose it,
Yeah,
but you got a problem with that
Right.
problem, with
Right.
that person,
So why
should
don't we
you
just
recuse
change the
yourself?
word and say,
I-
well, you could,
I don't know.
You could, maybe you could say it as just saying that, if anybody has a clear conflict in connection with the proposed,
Ah,
variance, they should, so state that and recuse themselves.
let's say that one more time, Richard.
right, I don't,
So if any member has a clear conflict of interest in connection with the variant application, that he or she should recuse himself, as a voting member on such application.
I think the applicant is the key part, because people speaking for or against the application can be any member of the
Oh,
public.
that's true,
So
yeah.
you could come
Yeah.
into a situation where the whole town shows up to the meeting and
Right.
then what, we suddenly all have to recuse
I got a
ourselves?
problem with
'Cause-
that guy, Gary.
So I
Yeah.
think the only
Yeah,
person
no,
that,
I hear you, yeah.
like, if it was only abutting, property owners that were allowed to speak, then
Yeah.
I could see that
Yeah.
being a thing, but because any members of the public
Yeah,
are allowed to
that's
speak for or against,
Fair
I think
point, yeah.
you end up possibly with a lot of people, or
Yeah,
too many
yeah.
members getting recused in that situation. So I don't think.
Yeah, all right, well,
that-
leave it as is.
I really kinda like to have this in there, because I don't know, I'm a cross the T dot the I guy, and if it's not in there in writing, hey, if you recuse yourself, you don't know what's gonna happen 10 years from now. Somebody will say, no, you can't ask any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
What do you think?
I mean,
Recusing yourself doesn't stop you from asking questions.
Well, you and I say that now, but what about 10 years from now?
Well,
When there's
It's in the
another
minutes of the
board.
meeting.
I guess the more substantive question in my mind is, should a recused person participate in the question and answer process? Because often, the vote is sort of secondary to the discussion. I mean, usually by the time you vote, people have expressed their opinions, and so you're not really recusing yourself if you're also asking questions and commenting on it at the same time.
I think that's a fair point. If you are recusing yourself because you fear you have a bias for a case, then asking questions, whether it's leading questions or making comments, is sort of enforcing your views on it or pushing your views to the other members.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to influence the process.
Yeah,
one way or the
you've
other.
admitted you have a conflict of interest, and now you're trying to influence the rest of the members by asking questions, by making comments in the affirmative, that I think this is a good idea because such and such.
I partly disagree with that, because in my case, it was the appearance of it. I actually, because I didn't know, I discussed it with everybody, and everybody except for the chairman said, no, there's no conflict of interest, don't worry about it. And then the chairman said, well, sometimes you gotta worry about the appearance. And that's why I said, all right, let me recuse myself. It was the very, very first one that I was on.
In that situation, if you don't have a conflict of interest, I don't think you should recuse yourself then. Or if you're.
I know, I was brand new and I just deferred to
Right,
what the
but-
chairman said, that's why I did that.
But I'm saying in that circumstance, like going forward, you just wouldn't recuse yourself and it wouldn't be a concern.
I mean, if you're not, I mean, say you're like me, you're an alternate, and you're not voting on a particular issue, but that doesn't prevent me from weighing in on the issue and.
Yeah, that's why I think
Trying to-
that person should still be able to weigh in.
Well, but I'm saying, then I'm not, in other words, if you're only sort of recused if you can speak to the issue and you can voice your opinion and try to influence what other people think. So you're not really recused, basically.
I guess
I-
the question,
I think I would agree with that. I think that if you recuse yourself, then you have no seat at the table at that
Yeah,
point.
Right.
that
Yeah.
seems to be cleaner, just,
It's also the difference between
Right.
recuse and abstain.
Right.
You're just gonna abstain to vote, okay, but recusing yourself,
yeah,
I
it means,
agree, removes yourself
yeah,
from the
you're taking
process
no part in
altogether.
the case, yeah.
Yeah, what's the real difference between recusal and abstaining? Just saying, hey, I don't wanna vote on this.
Well, that's the point, is that abstaining is just not voting, recusal should be you don't get any.
Removing yourself. from
So
the
should we give a member a choice to abstain or recuse?
Well, members already have the choice to abstain and to vote, you
Yeah,
can vote
you
to.
can just decide not to.
But is it something that we want in the bylaws? That's what I was,
I don't think,
I don't
it's
think
it's
you need
already,
don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just personal discretion.
right, so I think that note should be
Yeah, this one,
stricken if it's.
And
if you
strike.
want.
chicken scratch. All right.
Right.
Number 9, amendments to bylaws. Can I read that?
Sure.
Let's see tell me how this sounds. So from time to time, amendments to the bylaws may be necessary. All changes must be voted on by current members and have at least 4 affirmative votes to pass and shall take effect at the next scheduled meeting. Kind of sort of makes sense?
Yeah, I think that's fine, there's not really currently an amendment procedure in the
Yeah, there is no
bylaws,
amendment
so
procedure.
it's
It
kind of-
doesn't stipulate, I don't know if you wanna stipulate, but can anybody propose an amendment?
Why not?
Well, that's fine, I'm just saying.
Should it be?
Yeah, we can add that in there. To
Right,
propose,
Could say
yeah,
any
can-
commission.
right, so.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, the
Can
actual
be
proposal of the amendments should be
proposed.
mentioned.
I would be sometimes when these changes start to happen in the original, is the unintended consequence of the verbiage. So
Right.
it needs to be looked at very deeply, and the simpler the statement, and the cleaner the statement,
Right.
the less opportunity for that to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, it has to be in layman terms, simple, so everyone could understand.
Yeah, which I think is part of the reason we're updating the bylaws now, because
Oh, I have one question. Oh, she's
the
not here,
bylaws
so
have
I'm gonna-
kind of been,
Primitive?
yeah, they have not been being followed to the
What were they,
verbiage.
71,
I-
I
Fran?
think it was
I don't
78,
know.
was it
I-
1978 when they went down?
71 or
So- Yeah,
78?
I don't know when the vice chairman position came about, but it was never written in. The inspection phrasing was always very,
There has been a vice chairman.
This we wanna get.
right, and so
There was
we
never a
clearly-
vice chairman on here.
Right, so we clearly have not been following the bylaws to the letter for who knows how long.
Nobody
So
has
that's the
Yeah, go ahead.
intent, is to make the bylaws something that it actually expresses what we're doing and our restrictions and the like.
Everybody's okay with the he or she's I've been adding in? I think I missed a few. I gotta go back through this.
Not on my draft.
Oh, you didn't miss any?
Not
We
on
gotta
my
see-
draft.
We gotta see your
I
draft,
got,
Janet.
I got everything in there.
All right, is there any more discussion we wanna have on the reviewing the bylaws, or should we?
This one I wanna go over, but with Lisa.
Okay,
Wait
so
for Lisa.
we can table it then to the next meeting? If we-
I move to adjourn.
All right. Motion
I
to adjourn,
second it.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
That's
All
fine.
on